Let's go.
Okay.
Podcast is live. It even says it on the screen.
Yeah.
Live in effect.
Okay, Jace,
we
you
go.
wanna introduce the festival and kick us
Absolutely.
right into it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone out there worldwide, thanks for coming here inside. This is EduVerse Festival. We have some incredible folks, teachers from around the world who reach when they teach, who have done fantastic things, some for many, many years, often a combination of in-person and digital learning, online learning, and it's an exciting time. As we all know very well now, metaverse is the buzzword anywhere and everywhere you go. I teach university students in Paris right now. At the beginning of the semester, I mentioned the metaverse. Not a single one of them engineering students in their 20s knew what I was talking about. And now they're doing all their reports and presentations on it just a month later, basically. So that's pretty impressive. So we figured, if there's something coming, a shift in the internet, educators, those that are working in the digital sphere, which is pretty much all of us now. But let's get together folks who really have done a lot with this over the years, find out what they're working on, where they feel we're heading with Web 3.0. And personally, I'm really interested to hear how passionate educators feel about this in terms of, or in light of changes in the past with the internet, in terms of our identities as educators and students, security issues, money issues, quality of materials issues. So it's going to be really exciting. Thanks for being with us, and we're going to kick things off here with a swell group of guys. Some of whom, or maybe all of whom, a couple seriously of whom, are in that category of having worked for a really long time with, like I said, a combination of in-person and online. Some of them who have a lot of wisdom to share, and really curious to see what they're up to these days. And my co-host, of course, is DJ Boom 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 in the room. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm really excited to be together and to do this. And it's always so exciting when you see idea come to life. And actually, we kind of got back together with Jace, started doing this open mic, started doing events in the metaverse, got so excited about it. And then we're like, hey, why don't we bring the most passionate and inspiring educators together and start doing things together, all of us, make a DAO, make a community, share resources, create products together, etc. It's so exciting, and now it feels like it's a new spin and new hope. There's so much talk about where it's heading with Web3 and everything. And my answer is always, well, it's heading to where we are steering it to. And this will go exactly the way we will take it, because, let's get together and just do it and create the new world. It's always the hope, and we always gain something and miss something. So let's also analyze what we missed the last time, when the Web 2 kind of came to be. Analyze our maybe mistakes and success, and make a new iteration. So on that note, let's introduce our wonderful educators. So the first question, guys, and I think keep it around 5 minutes, your answer, so that we can go through all the questions. Briefly, your background, kind of a context, and then what are you working on right now that you are most excited about? Okay, that's the first one.
Over to you, Mark Barnes.
Hey, boom, boom. Fluency MC, great to be here with these guys. I'm excited. I know it's a global event. I really am pumped to be here. Thanks for the invite. So I'm a K-12 educator. I should say I was, but I hate saying was. I feel like I'm an educator for life. Taught in the K-12 classroom, mostly junior high, high school for almost 25 years. taught a little bit at the college level. That's where I really got into the virtual, and then launched a publishing company, Times 10 Publications. After I wrote a few books for teachers and school leaders, decided I love that world, love interacting with people. Jason and I go way back in the virtual world. And, I just decided that I really love the idea of helping teachers and school leaders be better, because ultimately that helps kids. So we launched Times 10 Publications back in 2014. We are a small independent company, and we've done 40 books now, mostly known for the Hack Learning series. I'm blown away by it, Jason, I tell you. But yeah, it's exciting. And now, in this world, it's timely because we're doing so much around the metaverse. Last year and even into this year, there was a whole lot of hybrid learning, kids at home doing remote learning, kids in school, teachers trying to manage that world, kids at home. Plus, I've got kids on the computer. We did a book this year called Hacking Flex Teaching, and that's all about that world. How do you manage that world, and how do you leverage the amazing new technologies, the AI, all of that. So, we're excited about that. We're doing books around assessment because assessment is evolving. We're de-emphasizing traditional grades. We're doing books around all of the issues that you see in the world, the political issues, and how they impact kids and how they impact teachers and school leaders. We're covering those issues. We've got some amazing new people coming on board. We've got superintendents. We've got people even in the private sector, leaders who are also crossing over into education and talking about these things. And we're super pumped. Times 10 is small, but we're making a huge impact. And what we say is that we provide practical solutions that busy educators can read today and use tomorrow. And I think we're going to be talking about those issues today. Appreciate being here.
Wow.
Excellent. I just want to say before anybody else says anything, with Mark, we don't have time here now, but definitely look into, maybe Mark, you can put in the comments if you have a link, but just, you got to check out Mark's story about how, I don't know if it was one day, one moment, 1 week, where you had the realization that, the traditional grading system was really interfering in educating your students. It's just a wonderful story, and that's where we met in Teachers Throwing Out Grades group. So in the intro rap, which we can show later, when I say I've been rolling with Mark since he was throwing out grades, he's got some amazing insights into better ways to assess students besides grading them. So definitely you need to go check that out. I don't know, Mark, if there's one place where you talk about that or if it's just sort of different places, but I recommend checking Mark Barnes out.
I'll put a link in.
Yeah, that's
Great.
awesome. I want to also throw it in there that me and Jace, we have a podcast. We've started with wonderful Shelly, and we, of course, it's called Learning with Boom and Fluency. And obviously, guys, we invite each one of you to like a proper podcast session where we will unpack everything.
Sure.
So that's definitely coming.
Yeah, then I want to hear that story again. It's a great story.
Yeah. Totally. Okay, Nick, hi.
Hi there. Yeah. Okay, so me introducing myself. Okay. My relationship with teaching actually started in prison, which saying that usually raises a few eyebrows. But I was a music student originally, and started teaching the guitar in my local prison while I was studying, just to make some extra money, and that kind of got me interested in education initially, and seeing sort of the impact that education could have. And the other side of that, the impact that your lack of education could have as well, which was quite the negative side. And I finished my degree in music and just didn't know what to do, so I decided to go off around the world and teach English, and got really sucked into that world and have been stuck in it ever since. So I've sort of taught all over the place, a lot of North Africa and Southern and Eastern Europe, Singapore and things like that. And got interested in technology back in towards the end of the last century. Makes you sound really old now, doesn't it? When you say back in the last century when I got into technology, but when sort of Vance and people like Vance were knocking around with the web heads, and I got really interested in what these guys were
Shout
doing.
out to the web head.
And did a master's in educational technology. I had a daughter. I was living in Barcelona, and I had a daughter, and I wanted to sort of keep her in touch with her first language culture, and started buying her sort of computer games and CD-ROMs that were in English. And this really started to get interesting. And I thought, wow, she's learning a lot from this. And they weren't necessarily things that were aimed at language learning. I mean, one was green eggs and ham, I think, and she really sort of got off on the digital version of green eggs and ham and Sam I Am. And so I did the master's in educational technology and started doing sort of technology training for teachers and stuff like that. And then I left the British Council, went freelance, and was working in Second Life, which was my first kind of encounter with the metaverse. I had my office in Second Life and was sort of developing some courses for a company that was called Language Lab at the time, that had a couple of islands where they were language teaching and stuff like that. And that was really interesting. I mean, that was back in, I guess, 2007, and at the time, everyone's, yeah, this is going to be huge. This is going to be big. Second Life was in magazines and on TV all the time. And then just for some reason, it went away again, which was quite sad. Anyway, I guess, where I am in now is, I crowdsourced money to write a book back in 2015, 2016, and which won the Innovations Award for innovation in teacher resources. And it was a kind of digital book with videos in it and things like that. And that was kind of the birth of Peachy Publications, because I didn't get rich from writing that first book, so I had to start writing some more. And I'm still writing and still trying to get rich, but somebody buy my books, please. But so I got and another thing that was happening around the time was I started working for this company that was delivering 100% online courses, what now we're calling remote courses, but the company was delivering 100% online courses. I was the head of learning. We had teachers all over the world sort of teaching students in Brazil using a tool much the same as this. And what I found was that there were just no materials. Teachers were saying, well, we can go in and chat, but what do we teach them? Do we hold our course books up, or what do we do there? So when I sort of started developing materials for Peachy Publications, that's what I did. I filled that gap and created, HTML5 presentations that run in the remote classroom and can be interactive and have audio and, and that kind of thing. And that's, what I'm doing with Peachy Publications at the moment. I mean, it's still kind of what do they call it? It's a sort of labor of love rather than sort of the full-time day job. I still have my day job, I'm afraid, but it's growing and slowly, and maybe by the time I retire, it will make me a living. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, that's sort of my main thing at the moment.
That's awesome. That's one of our kind of hopes and ambitions, is to get together and leverage Web3 and DAO and tokenization and everything that we know collectively much more than each one of us about marketing and as well, and creating products to actually make our labors of love also labor
of speaking of labor of loves with Nick Peachy, I mean, there were what year was it? There was a year where every single day I was following what you were curating. I forget the app, that it's gone now maybe, but there was an app. My first introduction to like somebody curating stuff from the internet, and I was just addicted to following you and what you were doing. So I feel like there's this opportunity again, but in an even better way with Web3 to do something like that.
Maybe Scoop It. He does a lot of
Scoop It. I'm still running on Scoop It. I'm still updating that.
Oh yeah, okay. I shouldn't have said it doesn't exist anymore. It's not in my. It's
still
not
going. Still updating it. It's up.
Really?
I'm up to about. I think I've got about 70,000 followers on Scoop It, and we've been viewed about 3 million 3 million page views from that. Just vanity metrics, but
I'm not surprised. Incredible stuff there.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Moving on. Vladimir. Hi.
Hi guys. Thank you very much for inviting this brilliant festival where we have so good family, friends with expectations to make metaverse better. We are now speaking about meta, and you suggested metaverse, and it's interesting how it will be. My background is I have a degree in engineering, in futurology and education. So I decided to combine all my skills together and fulfill some educational projects. It started nearly 30 years ago. So I founded several offline brick schools and now online schools with very modern format. So I have a base to see the experience, how it will go on with all this online stuff. And decided that education now is very proud that it is about 2.0 level. It's for 2.0 level. In comparison with Industry 4.0, Communication 5, and even Web 3.0. So
even though the web started kind of early a little bit than education, it has already accelerated to 3.0. Education started way earlier.
Look. Let's speak about the comparison. Well, education with the 2.0 level prepares its graduates to work in Industry 4.0, in Web 3.0, in Communication 5.0. So we have a contradiction. So we have to solve this problem. I have traveled to 107 countries and dug this educational system everywhere, and very interesting to compare, to create something new that will be on the high level. I'm 2 times Guinness Book record winner. I have 2 records. I'm a collector. I collected the largest in the world collection of pyramids, just for fun. But it is very interesting to go through. And also, I manufactured the biggest in the world, the seal, the stamp, the seal. That is very also interesting. What about education? I was not very satisfied from my childhood with the lessons, with this boring lessons, and try to substitute it or transform it, and I did it. And now all this amount of information, learning information, we try to transform into case lessons. So if nowadays we have to study just subjects, disciplines, maths, physics, chemistry, biology, etc., whatever, and then maybe apply it to some cases, I did it vice versa. So first comes case lessons with some exercises, with some practical things, and then it confirms by the theoretical subjects and disciplines. And it does work because it gives better speed, and students love it because it's easy to learn. They learn deeply the material, and faster, and for a long time. So this experience let me move the education system maybe from level 2 to level 3, maybe 4, maybe there will be sometime level 5. So we have a good opportunity now to move from lower level to the higher level, to upper level, and maybe it was not possible in our reality, but it will be possible in the virtual reality, augmented reality, and metaverse reality. So that's it.
Wow, Vladimir, so cool to have you. I'm always blown away by Vladimir's kind of ability to structure things. He has the list of 100 future skills that he has come up with, structurized, and now he's working with parents. And like the thing that he loves to, say that parents go like, oh, 100 future skills, maybe it's too much. And then Vladimir goes, okay, you can cross out the ones that you don't want. And then they look at the list and they can't cross anything. They're like, wow, that's like, that seems really, yeah.
I'm an author. I'm writing books, bestsellers. One of them has a title, The Education Blast. So just to blow it up and replace it by something very, very new. And the other is, well, everybody knows atlases. Atlas of the human body, atlas of the roads, atlas of the astronomical atlases, but nobody decided to create atlas of education system. All of us call it education system. I understand, and I researched that education we do have. But what about system? It's a big, big question. Nobody knows what does the system means in education. If we'll ask a question, what do you think? What are the elements of education system? People will be very concerned in answers. There will be a lot of answers. So we have to, well, the education 2.0 is on the low level because it's not a system as a system. And if we will move to the upper levels, then we have to structure and put it in the system. There may be several of them, but without system, there will be no chance to move forward.
Yeah, that's why we call that mapping out the future of education, because only together, contributing all our superpowers, and putting them together, we can then look at it and make sense of it and create a system and share it with the world. And throughout the day today, we have I think 5 more hours of wonderful educators from around the world will be kind of mapping it out. Vladimir, thank you. Jace, do you have anything to say about that before we move to
Yeah, we definitely have to have our podcasts as soon as possible with these guys so we can dig deeper in. Totally. I do have a question though about the pyramids. When you say the biggest collection of pyramids, can you explain a little bit? Just I'm fascinated by this, but I can't imagine.
Well, behind me, there is a shelf with these pyramids. I can show you some of them, some of the pieces.
Okay.
Do you see them?
Yeah.
Yes. So you have the largest collection in the world, and you're in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Around 2,000 pieces, different from all around the world.
That is very cool. Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
That's cool. Okay, Vance, hello.
Hi.
Thank you for being patient, listening to all these amazing stories.
Especially because he's in. Tell us where you are, Vance. It's bedtime, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm in Penang, Malaysia, and I retired here. So, let's see, being retired, it means I've been in the business a long time. And I suppose, actually, I sort of prepared a little something in case I get a chance. I've got some screenshots from last century's metaverse.
Ooh.
Please,
But,
please show us.
you might be interested. But I started that kind of thing back in let's see, I was working in Oman until 1995, and then I moved to California to take a job in a software development company, and that was the first time I'd stopped teaching for about 10 years or 15 years or something like that. So in California, though, this is 1997, 96. The internet was just coming on strong, and there was a guy named Dave Wynett who was doing courses. He had a website, and he uses the clearinghouse. He got students to sign up and take courses. And one of the things he was promoting, I was teaching just kind of email courses for a while, but then I moved into the Palace. I don't know if you know about the Palace. Have you heard of that before? The Palace is he used to call it a 3D education space, but it was a flat screen. But in any event, it was a multi-user place where we could go. I've got pictures of it I can show you, but it was the first kind of metaverse that I was in, and that developed into a kind of an informal way of teaching students by just getting them into these spaces. Another one we used was Active Worlds, for example, which has become Quest Atlantis, I believe, and Second Life also. But that was Second Life started in 2009, maybe something like that. But anyway, 2003. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I'm just reading your document where it says 2003.
2009 Minecraft. Okay, thank you for straightening me out. Okay, so anyhow, so I started this just teaching these students informally, and then I got a job in the UAE, and they set up a server system which I was able to piggyback on, and I did what I called it writing for webheads. So I was teaching them, just getting them to write us and putting all this material that they wrote in Web 1 spaces and kind of having it myself, because Web 1, putting it there, having them bounce off one another and write about their activities that way. And there's a lot of communication that went on, and this attracted a lot of teachers as well, and it got us into quite a lot of computer mediated communication apps. But the interesting thing is it really felt, although when I show you, it felt like it was real, like it kind of was like black and white TV. Once you see color, it's different. But when you're there in black and white, it's all real. So from there, I developed this idea of webheads in action. I started teaching teachers how to put together communities like this, and then we put on a few online conferences, 3 online conferences with Stephen Downs, George Siemens, people like that. I'm not sure anybody in this room. I don't know. Nick, did you come to one of those? I'm not sure. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyhow,
my memory is getting bad.
We did this every other year for 3 years, and then by the end of that would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The end of the 7th year, I was fed up with it. I didn't want to do another one of these 72-hour marathons again. So I started Learning Together, which was just a podcast where I got people coming, talking to people weekly, more or less, and we were meeting regularly with webheads and things like that. So I put it into Learning Together, and since I started that in about 2009, I put out 500 some odd episodes. So right, and the last one of the things I've gotten involved in is Electronic Village Online, which is a community of practice of teachers who we're associated with TESOL, and we put on webinars. And the webinar I've been doing most recently for the past 8 years, this is the 8th year actually, is Minecraft, EVO Minecraft Mooc. And that one also, though, since the COVID thing hit, and we've kind of gone into online and emergency remote teaching, and after that, and conferences started going virtual, I went to a TESOL conference in. I wrote an article in TESOL EJ, which kind of critiqued it in a way, or it suggested that they really need to make better use of the metaverse. And in my researching the subject, I discovered that Minecraft has not been used for such conferences. It's never been used for a language conference that I can find. It's usually kind of commercial disco kind of stuff, getting people together. So I decided to throw a conference. February 8th, you're all invited. You can be in Minecraft, or we'll stream it, of course. We'll put it in Zoom or something like that.
Yeah,
but anyway, that's what I'm kind of focused on right now. So this EVO session starts in January, which is just a month away. So what we do is we get people into Minecraft, and we just kind of try to guide them into learning how to do it. There's no point in telling anybody about Minecraft. You have to get them in there, and you have to get them doing it. So I don't know if you want to ask some more questions, or if you want me to.
Well, we have more questions. I think, yeah. I mean, we want to move on. I guess now that we've gotten everyone to introduce themselves, we have a few more questions to ask. And if there's issues with time, guys, and you need to go, you can go. But we'd love to have you stick around for these questions if possible. So, what do you think, Boom? What's the next question we should go to?
Yeah, and again, Vance, let's make a podcast and like really kind of dig deep and to look at the presentation. And also we totally are down to like just traveling across the metaverse, of course Minecraft as well, and you'll be our guide, I hope. Yeah, and doing things there, experimenting, showing fellow educators if they haven't explored this corner, and like the best practices there, etc. Essentially kind of when it's our world to educate in. Yeah.
What are you doing on February 8th? Why don't we do it then? We can make it part of the conference.
This is
That's
perfect.
Good. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
But I think that the conversation on the presentation that I knew you have, because I took a peek at it already, but that Web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, I think we'd like to interview you soon about that.
Yeah.
So maybe we can do both. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So our next question, guys, and I think let's try to make it like this one really brief. And I know it's so hard when someone asks like, what is the most, and you're like, wow, there's 1,000 things. Yeah, but if you were to choose one thing, like the most exciting technology or innovation that you see is coming, that you feel like educators should pay attention to, what would that be? Okay, like, because attention is the main currency right now. Yeah, we all know that. And so there are so many things, and definitely also this is why one of the reasons why we're doing this. Yeah, to help people navigate and understand what's up. Yeah, so if you were to pick one, like one thing that we should all pay attention to, what would it be? Starting with who wants to go first? Let me look.
Oh, it's got to be Nick first for this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Really? Okay. I guess what I'd like to see happening, and what I think should happen is a kind of convergence, and that's a convergence between reality, artificial intelligence, and augmented reality. And so, that we could take learning outside of the classroom. Students could wander around any place, anywhere in the world, and interact with their environment through their device. So, for example, if they went to a museum and they saw a painting of someone, they could point their phone at that or some glasses. They'd be able to identify that and initiate a conversation with the person in the painting, for example, through kind of artificial intelligence or through voice recognition and, voice synthesis. So, or they could go to wood and point their phone at a tree, and that they'd be able to interact with the tree and get information from the tree and speak to the tree. These kinds of things. I think that it's possible for artificial intelligence to hold conversations with us now that are intelligent and spontaneous. It's possible to for our phone or a camera lens to identify what things are through artificial intelligence, and it's possible for the phone to pinpoint where we are, so we can start laying information and opportunities to learn on everything that's in our world. It doesn't have to be sitting in a classroom, doesn't have to be sitting at home on the office or sitting with a computer. You can walk around the world and learn from whatever you're looking at and interact with it and speak to it. That's the kind of thing that I'd like to see happening. That would be my ideal.
Awesome. Yeah, convergence. Okay, number one, point taken, recorded.
I just have one quick question. I know we're trying to keep these brief, but I know we have David Bosanik is coming up later, talks about XR. I hadn't heard of that, which he's talking about a combination of AR, of VR, and of like mixed reality. Is that a term that also, is that sort of what you're talking about, Nick? I hadn't heard that term XR, or is it something else?
XR's a new one on me, but for me, it's like what I understand is more like augmented reality. So your phone or your device would sort of produce an image that you could speak to, three-dimensional image that you could speak to and interact with. Whether it's a face jumps out of the tree and you can start talking to it, or a face jumps out of a can of baked beans and you can start talking to it, and interacting with it and finding out about it.
So it's more AR, yeah. I mean, AR already is an interaction with reality.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds great. Mark, what is your position on that?
Well, I'll tell you, I think these guys, their experiences, and they're so well traveled, and all the work they've done. Honestly, I think they're more qualified to answer this than I am. I'm going to bring in the thing that's not technology, that I think that often in the K-12 world we just tend to skate right by and overlook, and that is student voice. So who's out there experimenting with these incredible things right now? It's the kids, because they're the early adopters. Who is into AR first and into all the things we've already been talking about. I mean, I see my own kids. I have high school kids and I have a college freshman, and they've been in these tools for years. And I as a former classroom teacher and now a publisher, I find myself kind of looking over their shoulder and saying, tell me about this. And then right away, where my mind goes is, how could we apply this to the classroom? And I think it's great to get a lot of brilliant minds together like you've done here and say, hey, what are these tools and how do we use them for education? But I think we do a huge disservice to teaching and learning if we don't pull those kids in and say, what tools are you using right now, and help us. How can we use these to not just be games, but to help you? My kid's been using Minecraft for, I don't know how long, beginning.
Roblox, Fortnite.
Roblox, huge. So, I think that's key. That's my answer is you guys bring the technology. You've got way more experience in that world than I do. But let's get the kids involved and say, hey, help us. Let's collaborate.
Yeah.
Well, especially because I think there are people out there who, obviously want to get their hands on the metaverse and exploit all of those spaces, not for the good of the students who, have been building them. Like Roblox is built by kids, and now, So yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great perspective, and we definitely, again, our hope and ambition is to get together and not just be like being among educators is just a start, and then we bring it to the students and the kids and the adults and all kinds of groups and people that we can help be relevant in this world and thrive and realize their potential, yeah, that's what we are here for as educators. So definitely, and each one of us have their audience and access to their kind of groups. But then with the complementary superpowers, yeah, we can bring so much more, and we can exchange this audiences, etc. That's the hope for our DAO, for our community that we are hoping to build, and starting with this EduVerse festival. Awesome. Yeah, Vladimir. What is the? Oh, wait a second. Excuse me, you're muted. Let's unmute you. Here you are.
I can choose this one thing that may be the most valuable. But first of all, we have to set a set from which quantity of values we have to choose the only one that we have to speak about. So I did this work, this marketing, for a long time, and noticed that there are 7, as I say, 7 W questions. First of them is why to learn. So this is a kind of motivation. Isn't it not valuable to have motivation? Why to learn? Second, what to learn? The contents. Third, the technology. VR, augmented reality, platforms, all other technologies that we know. The fourth question, who should teach? Teacher, or not, maybe not teachers, I don't know. The fifth question, where to learn? Not only in brick schools, but also online, remote. So there are a lot of thousands of problems and advantages and disadvantages. So maybe this is also valuable just now. The sixth question, how much should it cost? The very good education. Maybe it will be cheap or free of charge, or maybe it will be very expensive. So how much? And the seventh final question is the result. What will be see in the end of the day?
Yeah.
From my point of view, my expectation, my hypothesis is that the main thing in this chain is the content. Why I'm saying this? Because look, we have this abbreviature IT. IT means information technology. 99% of all people involved in this web story goes to technology, and very small percentage of people look about the information. We have an information age now, but who is trying to transform information, education information, these boring textbooks in K-12 schools? Who is doing this tremendous, huge work to transform this information? So
I mean, Mark for sure.
Yes. I know Mark. Yes, but there are two Marks. One we have here in our festival, and another guy is Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh yeah.
He said that because he said that information is a king, is a queen. And I will pay for those people, for those bloggers, for those guys who will fill my Facebook with information that will cost money. So, according to all these sources, I think that content now will be the king, the most valuable thing to do, because it will cost money. And investors are now looking for the best sources of information. They are not looking for the platforms. There are thousands and thousands of different platforms. But what about information? It has to be filtered, to be analyzed, to be upgraded. So information now is very expensive, good information. And I think that will go to this first of all. For instance, I am now involved in all this information, big data, it's not a big data, it's a huge data, and we have to pay attention to it. So to this, from my point of view.
Beautiful,
So
beautiful,
true.
Vladimir. Yeah, such a, again, like I'm telling you guys, like the ability to kind of structure, yeah, and have the perspective, kind of create containers that we then together can fill. That's definitely Vladimir's superpower. That's really cool. And I 100% agree, Jace. Hasn't this been what we have been discussing for the last couple weeks? Yeah, and like with me
Spot on.
creating
Yeah.
TikTok about it, like etc. Like we need to learn together collectively to create incredible content and to deliver it to a lot of people, because the issue that we also kind of have been discussing, a lot of us and amazing educators on paper have this huge following, yeah, like 80,000 people on Twitter, like 300,000 on YouTube, but do we really have this audience, or the algorithms decide who to show our content, and then we actually, when there is like a clear call to action, and then 4 people appear out of this 200,000. And
well, that's what's so exciting about the DAO idea. I mean, we'll see where it's heading, but and I'm really curious. I hope we get it. You know, the whole idea of decentralized groups and things is, it reminds me of things I remember hearing with the web heads and back in the day, like, okay, the internet's going to be this place where, you know, we can finally have our communities and take care of each other, and it really feels like we may have another chance, and what can we do differently this time so we don't end up where we are now, like what Boom's talking about, because I definitely feel that.
Yeah. So this is why we're creating the Discord server, and researching all that. So definitely, let's get together and do it. Vance, over to you.
Okay. I think I was doing some research here. I'll give you something to read there. Here we go. So awesome. The people that I have been most impressed with in metaverses are Doris Malero, Heike Phillip, and Helena Galani. I don't know if you know those people. You probably do. I know Nick knows them probably. They are doing some phenomenal work, usually in Second Life, or often in Second Life, but these days in OpenSim. And the things that they do really well is they are using these platforms to promote language learning and engaging students in remarkable ways. And one thing they've been doing for some time was Machinima. They started that a long time ago. It's a way of storytelling. So it engages people in creative storytelling, and it's they would teach the technology as well as that. But lately, they've been moving into interactive narratives, historical narratives. For example, Doris has set up. She's running courses. She's from Venezuela, but she's living in Argentina, and she's connecting with students worldwide and bringing them into these courses. And she not only gets students, but she also gets people in her environment, like a Chinese lady we met, for example, to come in and talk about the terracotta warriors. Or she set up a place where terracotta warriors were, and the people in the course could go down and explore the warriors. And there's some tasks that they have to do. But the really interesting thing about her work is the way she integrates the objects in the environment. Well, for example, she demonstrated recently how you can put a YouTube video on a Second Life wall, but the way she does it, she is able to get people into this video in a way that segs really perfectly with her class. And also some of the presentations in that circle have been about people. I think there was one I saw that there was someone was teaching a class, a virtual class, and all of a sudden the walls disappeared and the students went out into the world and started running after objects and things like that. So it's the kind of thing that engages people, and of course you can pile on virtual, goggle glasses and things like that, and you can make it more three-dimensional. I mean, I'm sure technologies will come up to improve it the way Nick was talking about, where people can actually go out and interact with the environment. But what they do is that they root it in a reality of language learning, and they're really good at not only just doing it themselves, but teaching other people how to do it. They're in the EVO courses, and they put on conferences, month-long conferences on virtual worlds. Also, Nellie Deutsch is another person who does that. But especially, I think Heike is an excellent organizer. She's always busy in this kind of thing. So these are people you can keep your eye on. I put a few links there to some of their videos and things they've written in slideshows.
That's beautiful. It's such a beautiful take, and kind of takes us to, I think, the last question for today that I had in mind. Who do you want to nominate? Like, whose work we shouldn't oversee, and who we should have in our community? Van started it beautifully, with the specific names and telling why these people are incredible and amazing. So let's just kind of brainstorm. If you want someone to be here with us, let us know, and we'll reach out and make it even stronger and even more exciting. Right?
Basically, when I asked Vance, I figured you're kind of representing that squad. So I'm still in touch with those folks, with Doris Heike and Dr. Nelly, but not as much as I used to be. So I thought, okay, if we get Vance here and he gets excited, he mentions those people, then that's what I wanted to happen. So hey, I'm so happy.
Cool.
Let's bring them all here.
And you're going to have one. This is actually a preview of what you're going to have, I believe, Boom and Jason, and that is Shelly Terrell. Shelly Terrell. Shelly and I go back many, many years as well, and she has written a hack learning series book for Times 10 Publications, and she wrote years ago about the EdTech and where we were going with it. And she was doing stuff with application, that's probably 3 years ago now, that nobody was doing, is still relevant today. And she's just one of those, like some of these people you've mentioned, that she's always like, what's next and how do we integrate it? So I think she's going to be on today, and she's someone we want to hear. Shelly's,
and she's the first guest on the Learning with Boom and Fluency show. So we wrapped that up recently, and we're going to be coming for you guys next.
Yeah, totally. Boom. Also, we already recorded the episode with Shelly, and Boom makes this wonderful wrap-ups of the podcast, rapping about all the things that were mentioned and the most exciting things.
Get ready, guys. I'm doing the wrap-up of each podcast. I call it the wrap-up, RAP up. So it's a little summary of everything we talked about, and that can go out to help get people curious and want to listen.
How cool is that?
I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay. Nick, who do you nominate?
So it's a really difficult question, actually, and sort of, I'm afraid of leaving someone out.
Right? It could be more than one person, though, no?
But But I think, what I'd like to see is, one thing that I've really noticed since the beginning of the pandemic is how many kind of new young teachers have emerged through places like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and things
Yes.
like that, who are doing, have suddenly been launched into this world where they've had to teach and have come up with some really great things, and I think it would be nice to get sort of lots of young, new, fresh blood in there. I know there's a guy called 15 Second Sam who does 15-second English lessons on TikTok. Great.
You know who that is, bro? That's Teacher Sam. That's Teacher Sam. I'm working closely with him, and actually, I'm going to be making raps. I just made the first one for Black Cat Publishing with Sam. Sam's overseeing that. So we're working together right now. Yeah.
Great.
I nominate Sam too.
Another teacher called, I'm not sure if I pronounce her name correctly, Lachese Brach, who's a Brazilian teacher who works in London, who's doing great things. Who's the other one? A guy called Charlie, who does Charlie's Lessons, who does YouTube videos. They're really nice, teaching ideas and great production values. Charlie's Lessons, worth looking out for. There's a guy, I can't remember his name, but he started doing a kind of greening ELT kind of lesson each week on aspects of the environment and things like that. And a guy called Mark Fulger as well, James Fulger, who's doing great podcasts. I think there's a lot of great new stuff coming out, and I think it's great to see lots of and what I mean, the pandemic has been an awful thing that's happened to the world, but if there's one good thing that's come from it, it's the amount of new teachers that have been pushed into technology and are doing marvelous things with it, and I hope we kind of continue to see that, and that that we can keep that going.
That's precisely right. And it's the combination of that and just their age and where they grew up. Like Mark was saying, like, let's listen to the students. Well, some of those teachers you're talking about, we're pretty young, they're coming out of that world already. So it's just natural for them that when they're designing lessons and trying to reach people, they're using the tools and becoming influencers. How cool is that? Influencers who are not about fashion and not about selling things, but about education. Like that's what, when I coined the term ES celebrity a long time ago, and I mean ES celebrity shirts, Jennifer ESL's coming later, people like her, they were the influencers at a time where, YouTube was just, it's so exciting. Not that it isn't now, like you mentioned people on YouTube, but it's definitely true that now with Instagram, TikTok, there's something new happening. And I think going into more virtual spaces is just going to be, wow. It's just going to be a whole other thing,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I see people in comments are asking to repeat the names, and to everyone who's watching this recorded or live, join the community. We'll be sharing all the links and all the summaries, and we'll circle back to our wonderful speakers, to get the names that they mentioned and more names that they maybe will think of. So we'll be creating these databases and list also with the kind of educators to check out, so that we all get inspired and learn new things of each other. So that definitely will be just in the community. So if you feel that you missed something, don't worry. We as educators will be good about making the most out of this sessions. Vladimir, who do you nominate? Wait. Again, unmute. Sorry. Go.
Yes, it does work. There is a list of best countries which have the best in education system. For instance, Finnish education system, then some Asian, Singapore, Hong Kong, maybe Singapore, but maybe we'll choose some people from there and look for those people that involved in the best educational system by the criteria of PISA. Maybe this criteria, the world criteria, according to which the countries or these education systems are ranked. So maybe I will not name now the names, but maybe I will search for some people who live in these countries and push forward the education systems that are recognized as the best in the world. Maybe it's fair, maybe not fair, but it depends. It depends.
Well, that's a great idea, and then let's have them on the podcast. Yeah, let's talk with them and figure out what is it that they are doing that moves it forward. Yeah, that's a great idea. I absolutely love it. Okay, wonderful humans. We need to wrap this up. This was absolutely wonderful to me. I'm so inspired by each and every one of
You didn't ask me, and I've written stuff out, so all I have to do is send it.
Oh,
There
great.
you go. You can read it. That's Stephen Downs, Jeff LeBeau, Carla Arena, Dave Cormier, and is anybody else? Okay.
That's you kind of started it. That's what
Yeah, but I'm so glad you put. I mean, Stephen Downs. I mean, the first Moocs. Those folks up in Canada, amazing. And Carla Arena was somebody that I couldn't get for this particular festival, but hopefully we'll bring her for another one. Definitely want to talk to her in a podcast. And that's right, Jeff. I haven't chatted with Jeff in a while. These are all people I know thanks to Vance and the webheads.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we definitely the EduVerse we want it to be a regular event. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe every 2 weeks we'll be bringing more people and having those discussions. Then maybe we'll be focusing on specific topics there, and then maybe traveling through the metaverse together and making it in Minecraft and Oculus. Maybe if Mark behaves and other places. That's absolutely great. So, Jace, what do you think? How do you like the start of the?
I can't wait. I feel like when I was thinking about when Vance mentioned the 72-hour conferences online, I was thinking, wow, I was worried about maybe how long this would feel, but the time's flying. I think it's going to keep flying by all day. So I'm as Mark Barnes would say, I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
24-hour conferences. Someone's got to be up for them.
Yeah, right.
Everyone needs to sleep, so you just can't balance them out.
Okay.
But as Fedor said, as Boom said, this is really, of course, it's about this festival, but it's bigger than that in our minds. We really want, whether you call it a DAO, whatever you want to call it, we have a vision of bringing all, rallying all the innovative, passionate teachers around the world into one place, not in some big corporation's social media platform. And then of course there are like 7 of those, right? So I don't mind that I'm messaging each of you in all these different places now, but to be able to have one place, private place where we can all be equally in control and share the all the benefits from that. That's just our vision, and it's just really exciting because I really see it happening and soon.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. It's exciting.
Great. So I've also been copying everything in the chat into the Notion, so that with names who wrote it, so that we can again circle back and ask for comments, etc. So guys, let's stay together, process all the information. You can also, if you have time today, come say hi to other awesome educators, or just watch out for us posting the recordings and summaries, etc. And let's stay in touch. Thank you so much for being here.
Enormous thanks to you for 4 great people. Have a wonderful day, evening.
Too.
Yeah.
You too.
Thanks, guys.
I'm off to play Roblox.
This is really good to have you in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh, that's on the MSC, like Fluency MC. Come on, you can
The
rap.
inspiration is flowing.
Let's go.
Oh. I'll have to make a longer one next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right. Cheers.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye.